COGEN Europe is comprised of 70 members representing pan-European manufacturers of large, medium, and small-size CHPs, plus pan-European users, as well as energy service companies. So we represent all stakeholders involved in the CHP field. Historically, our members were focusing mainly on large, big CHPs, but there is now a growing interest in our organization to promote micro CHP. So I'm going to focus in my presentation on micro CHP. Let's start with the most topical dossier filed those days in Brussels. It's the proposed new energy efficiency directive. As you may know, this directive is going to recast the current CHP directive plus the energy service directive. So that's the kind of figures you can find from the impact assessment study of the European Commission. Of course, there are more bar charts talking about transport and transformation of energy. What is really interesting is the third bar chart. So it's it works. The green part is in the residential sector. The green part is savings expected with, for instance, implementation of the EPBD, Energy Performance of Building Directive. And as you see, there is a tremendous energy savings which can be captured by new measures, the ones which are contained in the new EED. And for rural areas, it's really clear that there are, again, huge energy savings economically at hand we should focus on. So you already did it a bit, Christophe, but some more explanation about CHPs. CHP stands for Combined Heat and Power. For micro CHPs, the current proposition for customer citizens today, it's a boiler, gas, heating fuel, or whatever the fuel is, and producing heat, so meeting heat demand in the dwelling. And of course, you consume electricity, which is supplied via the electricity grid. Currently, it's big power plants somewhere in the country, or maybe, or even from abroad, and it's I would say that there are tremendous losses in the transformation and distribution process. That's in the new proposition with micro CHP. That's where a micro CHP produces not only heat but also electricity, an amount of electricity ranging in the range of 1 kilowatt. That's let's say equivalent to the usual need of a house. So basically, you consume on-site electricity plus heat. And when you look at the current proposition, where you import electricity, you consume electricity from big centralized power plants, there are let's say primary energy savings which are very important. So from a power plant, the conversion factor, so from production and transmission and distribution to end users, usually the efficiency, energy efficiency is about 40%, 40. So 60% of the energy, the fuel which has been consumed at the power plant location is lost. With a micro CHP, you lose about 10 to 20% of the fuel, of course, in the exhaust and so on, in the conversion process. But as you can see, there is a clear advantage in having on-site conversion of fuel to electricity. And it's not only a new proposition, but a current proposition. There are over 25,000 micro CHPs in operation in Europe today, mainly in Germany, but also in the Netherlands, in the UK. It's coming as well, and in many other countries. So it's it's there. It's about primary energy savings. So I guess Adrian is going to talk about final energy savings, probably. But primary energy savings plus energy efficiency, it's really key, and that's where CHPs are helping Europe in meeting our energy challenges. And about energy challenges, you know very well those 3 pillars, I guess. And the EED, Energy Efficiency Directive, will do much more than it says. It's not only energy efficiency, but of course it's about competitive Europe, sustainability, and security of supply. Starting with security of supply, primary energy savings, as we saw on the previous slides. So less energy consumed, which means less CO2 and pollutant emissions. And when we talk about competitiveness, micro CHPs and CHPs in general, it's about local jobs, so installers, energy services companies, rather than jobs in a central location, or even jobs which can be outsourced. So it's really in line with those 3 pillars. Thank you. And also CHPs, micro CHPs, has the potential to relieve the pressure on the electricity grid. So by providing balancing services to electricity grid operators, and also, and interestingly enough, there is potential to accompany the uptake of renewable energy sources like wind and PV by balancing the electricity demand. Usually when you kickstart a micro CHP, it's because you have a heat demand. So if you have a heat demand fulfilled by the micro CHP, there is also a heat demand by a heat pump somewhere, or electrical radiators somewhere else. So it's really matching the grid demand. So to conclude, of course, micro CHP is a practical proposition to the energy efficiency agenda. The stock of buildings in rural and urban areas is huge. Refurbishment rate is very low. There are improvements on the energy saving side, but also improvements in the energy efficiency side. It's a pretty straightforward solution to replace boiler by micro CHPs. It's also cost effective. For micro CHPs in the forthcoming EED, there is an opportunity to remove authorization process for micro CHPs. So that's what I call the install inform form. So you just need to inform your grid operator. Regarding the metering aspect, our cogenerator should be allowed to feed the grid back with electricity, so import, export, and new business models. We would like to see new provisions in the directive in order to allow for new business models to emerge. I'm particularly referring to the pool of micro cogenerators. In the medium-long run, they should be able to provide services to grid operators to send the electricity when the grid operator is asking for, and to be rewarded for that. So it's also very interesting that micro CHP users are going to take a more active part to the energy system from the top-down approach to the bottom-up now. So it's really a change of habits, a change of behavior. And in the context of the development of smart grids, it's clear that micro CHP can help to manage the load and balance the capacity of intermittent renewable energy sources. And the citizens, particularly in rural areas where the grid is under constraints, must have a role to play in the energy system of tomorrow. Thank you.